So I just want to share something with you guys, and it's called understanding your trigger. Understanding your trigger, what I mean, what triggers you to sin, what triggers you to fall, is you need to understand your trigger. So I'm gonna share with you a little story. So when I'm going to work, I have this little trolley bag that I pull. So there's a particular place that every time I pass there, there's a dog that barks. The dog barks every time I'm there. So I thought it was just a one day thing. I realized that every time I'm on that house, like near that house, the dog is going to start barking. So I was like, wait, what triggers this dog to bark every time is my bag, because when I'm pulling my trolley bag, it makes some noise and it triggers that dog to bark. So I said, okay, let me try passing and lifting the trolley bag without making noise, and let me see if this dog is going to bark. So I passed and I lifted my trolley bag. I didn't roll it down, and then the dog was quiet. So the dog was quiet. Okay, nothing triggered it. So my question for you is that, have you understood what triggers you or what makes you to fall into that sin? Have you understood what temptation? Is it your phone that tempts you to fall into sin? Is it your friends? Is it who triggers you? What is your main trigger? So the moment you begin to understand what triggers you, and if you take what triggers you out of the way, you will resist the devil. You will eventually resist the devil. That dog was only barking because there was something that was triggering it. And most of the time, we children of God, we fall into sin because there's a trigger. Let's say, for instance, somebody that's struggling with masturbation. There's something that's triggering that person to masturbate. It could be pornography. It could be maybe because they like to be in a closed area, or your thoughts, or the movies you're watching, the things that you're impacting in your soul, the things you're looking at, the magazines, the books that you're reading. So that is your trigger. So the devil has a tendency of putting before you a trigger so that whenever that trigger comes, it tells your mind that, oh, you have to react. What happens if you don't react? What happens if you don't react? Then you have resisted the enemy. So I want you to reflect on your life. I want you to sit down and reflect on your life. Let us reflect on our lives. What triggers me to fall into this sin? What triggers me to be jealousy? What triggers me to be envious? What triggers me to fornicate? What triggers me to do this? What triggers me to do that? If you understand what your trigger is, you will resist, or you will get it off. But another thing I want to share with you is that there's no temptation that God does not allow us to go through that He hasn't made a way of escape. God has allowed that temptation to come to you because He knows that you can resist it. But it will take you as a person to understand that that sin has already been taken off your life. That sin has already been dealt with by Christ. And this is by you confessing the righteousness of God. Because the Bible says in the book of 2 Corinthians 5 verse 21 that He who knew no sin was made sin, so that we may become the righteousness of God. So as a child of God, don't look down on yourself. Oh, I am this. Oh, I am a sinner. Oh, I am shameful. Oh, I am that. No. Rise up and confess the righteousness of God. And flee from the environment, from the friends, from the sites, the websites, the movies, whatever it is that impacts in your soul. Flee from them and they will resist you. So the moment you start running away from that trigger, the moment you start fleeing from that trigger, it will resist you. Eventually it will resist you. The moment you understand what triggers you to do something, The moment you understand that this is what causes me to fall, this is what causes me to do this, or it could be people, it could be a person, stay away from that person. You can resist the trigger. You just have to get it off. You can resist the temptation. You just have to take away the trigger. I hope this has blessed you.